What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Last time you saw Project Dimebag, we fabricated a full exhaust. Well, we never got to getting the exhaust tips out the bedside of the truck, which we're gonna be getting done in this episode. But before we get to that, we got a bunch of housekeeping to do around the truck. We're getting these doors hung. That way we can start aligning the rest of our body parts and getting our core support set at the right height with our hood and our supercharger. We got our boy Romeo here this morning, very early. It's 5 a.m. Let's get to work, boys. Come on. All right, so passenger side door went on pretty easy. The driver's side, we're having a couple little issues with it rubbing on the bottom. So we're gonna be pulling out these bolts here and adding a couple of these little wedge shims just to bring the bottom out. So let's see if that works. Moving along, we got our door set good. We got our gap on our front fender about as good as we're gonna get it. So at this point, we're gonna start trying to align our hood. The whole thing kind of needs to shift the front side towards the driver's side. So we're gonna shut the hood since we have the access. Romeo is gonna sneak on through the fender well. We'll loosen them up. We'll get the hood set from the outside where it needs to be. And then he's gonna sneak back in and tighten up those bolts. All right, now that I got my little frame rails welded in, it's time to figure out how we're gonna support our bed. Clearly, that 2x4 sitting right there is not gonna work. I mean, it works, but yeah. So what we're gonna do here is we're gonna take our brackets that we made that didn't end up working out anymore, that were supposed to go from here to there. So I'm gonna cut them, modify them up a little bit, and we're gonna use them here, like so. So cut them down. I'm gonna weld a plate on the bottom of this to catch both of these bolt holes. It's gonna get wedged back in there and get bolted to our frame. That way, this piece right here is completely removable. These brackets will still be removable. So in the event this thing ever has to come apart, you're still able to do that. So that's it, got one modified. Just gonna go ahead and cut me a plate, draw out some holes, get it painted, and then we'll put it in. And then I could take out my 2x4s. All right, guys, a little quick break and a friendly reminder from your boy Mikey Rolls to head over to the Salvage store to pick yourself up a holiday hoodie, because I promise you guys, your family wants one of these. We've been running some specials on our website, so make sure you pick up a Dimebag shirt or a hat while the supplies last, because they're running off the shelves. Thank you, guys. Now let's get back to work. All right, we officially got our bed mounted. Our little stands worked out lovely. I stood on it and jumped on it, and this thing did not budge. So at this point, it's time to finish up our exhaust. So here we got where we left it off with our 45 kind of pushing straight out towards the side of the bed right here. So now we're just kind of determining how we're gonna exit out the side of our bed here. This was either kind of just come out straight, maybe sticking out a ½ inch, or Andrew and I discussed doing like a teardrop. So basically, like we'd be cutting off this line right here, which would leave like an elongated teardrop. So it's kind of hard to visualize. So what I'm gonna do first is I'm gonna go ahead and cut one of my 90s and make our exit piece. And then we're gonna start cutting up the bed sides. All right, voila, we got a teardrop. Now what we're gonna do is I'm gonna put some tape on the bedside here, and we're gonna kind of find out where this thing's gonna land. And I'm gonna cut a hole in this puppy. And I'm gonna set this in there, and then we can connect the dots. There she is in position. I swear, getting her to sit there and figuring out how that's gonna sit was harder than cutting the hole and making the actual teardrop. So just use a bunch of tape and taped it in there. I got a little wood block. So now I kind of have a position of where this is set, so then I can make my connection. Looks like I'm gonna have to pull out some more pie cuts. Ooh, and that looks sick. Let's go ahead and get that other teardrop cut. This is how it starts out. This is a full 90-degree elbow bend from Vibrant Performance. First step is I'm gonna go ahead and cut off the straight section. So we're just gonna keep the radius part. All right, teardrop number 2. Looks pretty cool. Until you come over here and see teardrop number 1. So teardrop number 1 has longer cascade of a tear. This guy, he's got a fatter tear. No bueno. So let's make teardrop number 3 mo better. Boom. We're good. I've lost my mind. Passenger side tip is in place. Now keep in mind, we're also going to be building a nice trim around this. We're also cut out of the stainless plate that I got. It's an 1/8 inch plate. We're going to cut some kind of bridge truss bracket to mount our 2 mufflers together, and then we'll take off that bridge up to this angle and hang those. So I'm waiting for that material to come, but now I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing on the driver's side, get it set in place exactly like this. I just used some metal like duckboard tape. Worked a lot better than the painter's tape. So that's pretty much set in place. It's pretty sturdy. So now I can go ahead and start doing my connection from her to her. All right, we got our tip set. We got our high cuts. We got 2 over here angling down. We got 1 on our side over there, which kind of puts us in plane of a straight connection. Next step is kind of making it so we're able to take out this piece if God forbid we ever have to take the bed off. I was thinking to do a V-band, but then you know our V-band flange is quite bigger than the 3 inch, so would make our hole in the side of our truck a lot bigger, and then our trim would have to be a lot bigger, and I think that would end up running into our other side body trim here. So I think what we're going to try to do is do an expansion connection, like a slip fit. So I'm going to go over and expand a piece of pipe and decide where I'm going to put it. All right, so that was a flop. My expansion tool that I got from Harbor Freight is a piece of paperweight. I tried to do it and it laughed at me. I mean, I don't think that thing's made for stainless. So anyways, I gave it a whirl, no bueno. And I tried to do a couple of relief cuts. I mean, it kind of worked. I could slip my pipe in there, but I can't get it in deep enough to make that, like, you know, nice solid connection. So even putting a band around it, it would probably still leak. So I'm gonna head back over to my office. I'm gonna go online. I'm gonna order the right stuff so we can get this job done.
While we're waiting for those tools, we're gonna go ahead and start working on that muffler bracket.
David and I cut this little truss. This was actually a 3-part piece here. Andrew and I thought about and designed it. I tried to use the plasma cutter to make it. After about 11 templates and 4 missed cuts, David was able to do it in 1 shot. So shout out to David on that. So this piece is gonna get welded on this little guy like that. There'll be a hole drilled in there. Our rod's gonna slip through that. This piece is gonna get welded onto the top of my frame. That's gonna brace me up to the next one. This is gonna get bolted onto that, and the rod's gonna hang through there. So I'm gonna get these two things welded up, get them over to the truck, weld them in. Then I'm gonna get my angle that this is gonna sit so I can weld my little mounting plate here. Get all these holes drilled. And we're gonna cut our rod, make probably a bend so it can slip through this. Our muffler bracket is done. Looking pretty cool. This is stainless, so I'm gonna polish this up a little bit. So is our rod, so I'm gonna polish that up. Still gotta do some cleaning up and a final weld back here on our bracket. And I also have to weld it to our muffler. So I guess it's kind of not really done, but it's done. I'm not gonna weld it to our mufflers yet until we pull them out to do all these welds back here, because it'll be a lot easier for us to move an individual setup on the welding table rather than both of these pieces together. So once these are all welded and our final connections are made, then we'll be able to put this back in here and run a nice bead along our top of our mufflers, driver's side, passenger side. But pretty cool. We got our rubber isolator here. I'm happy with it. Let's keep moving. Our missing links for our exhaust system are here. We got our slip fittings. These are from Stainless Brothers. This is a 3-inch pipe. This is slightly bigger. So this piece is expanded, so that slips over, and then we have a stainless steel clamp, which will squeeze that puppy closed, and we'll have a tight seal, and no exhaust gases will be released. That side I already got my 2 pie cuts on it. I'm probably gonna put my slip fitting after my pie cut. All right, we got the passenger side all tacked up. Can't really do any of these final welds. We have to pull the whole muffler off from that V-band clamp back. I mean, I could break these tacks here at the muffler on the exit side, but I don't want to take the chance of things moving around on me. So once I get that side done, we'll take both mufflers out from the V-band back, and we'll weld all this back together and put it back in. And then I could actually do my little fancy mount that we made.
Start final welding this exhaust system. So as you can see, everything's got some tacks on it, runs out to the sides. What I want to do is try and get some of this more tacks, so that way when we take it out to final weld it, it'll hold its shape and not warp. So I'm going to try and go around all the perimeter of these pie cuts, get a whole bunch more tacks set in there. Same with these extension pieces that go to the end. Some of those over there, looks like they already have some welds on them. So yeah, we're gonna have to get down and dirty to fit in here. Okay, so I threw both muffler assemblies back in because I wanted to double check my fitment since we did a whole lot of welding on here, put a lot of heat into it, and everything still fits, which is good. So these still attach. There might be some slight tweaks at the end just to the outer piece, but as far as the slip fit, that all lines up. So now I could go ahead and take these back out, and then I got these sections here of a couple of connections and pie cuts and the slip fitting to weld on. So let's pull out both sides, bring it back to the bench, and finish up the job. Okay, we got our muffler part of the exhaust put back in. So this pipe, tailpipe connector over here does still fit, but as you can see, it's a little bit short. But that's okay, because we got more straight material. We'll just add some straight and make that work. The other side needs a little more than just straight. Let's see, we'll take the piece right here, put it in there. And so this is kind of pointed in, should be more like this, and if you have it like that, we're a little wee off over here. So what I'm going to do before I rebuild anything is I'm going to mount our hanger to our mufflers. And purpose of that, I have everything set so the hangers are perfect contour. Once that's all welded and I take out all my clamps and blocks and everything will be sitting in the exact position that's going to rest in while the car is driving. So I want to modify this in a position where everything could change again. So I'm going to get it completely 100% up to our slip fit, and then I'll be able to modify our tail to slip in nice and easy into there. So let's go ahead, get the welder over here, get up there, and start welding those.
We got that exhaust done. We got the tips poking out of the side of that bed, and boy, it looks good, man. Make sure you guys are subscribed so you don't miss out on the first startup. We still got a ton of work to do on this truck, so like I said, don't miss out. We'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.